All right, good afternoon, Hillwood. It is another edition of the Topper Podcast here on August 30th, 2022. We're joined by a very special guest, Dr. Schaefer. How's it going? Great
Thanks
day.
for having me on the podcast.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're here. It's a great day to have a great day. Also joining us is Robbie and Spencer. This is their maiden voyage. They just joined us in this class. So this is the first run of these two together. So
And you got guests. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we're going to try it out.
We're going to shove them down the hill. Right? We're going to take the training wheels off, but we got a lot to talk about as far as what's going on with Hillwood this year, the exciting stuff that's going to take place next year with James Lawson, the building updates and stuff like that, and just kind of what to expect as we move. So I'm going to start it with this week. We've got a shortened week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going into Labor Day.
Yep.
First, big Labor Day plans.
Well, heading north to Cincinnati. So we have some family that get together up there, and I think we've got a day trip of canoeing and a day of swimming and hopefully good weather. And probably some college football on the television or on my phone if we're away from the TV. Yeah, I think the Florida Gators open up with Utah.
That's about as tough a matchup as you
at
can
least
get.
it's at home, so maybe we got a shot. But
there you go.
We'll see what happens. So yeah, good weekend. And 4-day weeks for students this week and next week. That's never a bad thing. You get a little long extra weekend. We've had a good start to the year, but I think everybody needs a little break. That's why Labor Day is usually a first good chance to take a step away.
Okay, absolutely. So, with the schedules is kind of shaken out. With the longer blocks, the PLT once a week. What was kind of the thinking that went behind that?
So the district kind of gave schools that choice. So freshmen have to have PLT every day, and because a lot of them coming in from middle school with some of the interventions and enrichments, it made a lot of sense. For state compliance. But grades 10 through 12, what we noticed is it worked for some, but not for all. And so we tried to manage, how do we get the most kids involved and maximize their time? And so we talked to students, we talked to staff, and while the classes are definitely a little bit longer, it definitely cuts down on the training, and it gives them more time in their core subjects. So like for you guys in this room, you get, almost 90 minutes. So you really have time to go through, do your lessons, and have time to do on activities, and we have our classes. And so that's how we initially started block years ago, before we had PLT put in there. So, but we also recognize some of those are longer days. So we're looking at one kind of as an advisory model, which are Wednesdays. And then after Labor Day, probably mid-September or so, we'll add a second PLT day in, which will be club focused. We heard from kids that said, hey, we love clubs. We're having a hard time because right now we can only meet after school. Every kid can do that. So once again, we always listen to feedback and said, yeah, we want to put a second day in. We always planned on it. So we'll look at a second day starting on either the 16th or the 23rd. So I think we're going to do Friday mornings for clubs.
Awesome. You guys got anything?
Yeah, I've got a question. What I don't know if you can talk about this. What are the plans for the new high school? Since we're seniors and we're not really going to be there.
There's always like the class that doesn't get it, right?
Yep.
And so part of that is why we're trying to really talk up this year, like closing down Hillwood, making this final climb.
Right.
Mr. Burlingame put up the great picture
Yep.
from the first day of school. So we're trying to definitely do as much as we can to pump up this current class, the class of 23, because you don't get some of those direct benefits of moving to the new building. You're welcome to come visit,
Yeah.
right? And most of you don't want to go for a fifth year, so you're not going to be a student there. But that's okay. So we still want you to come back. We still want you to know that, hey, that's Hillwood.
Right.
That's the closest thing you're going to get since the name changed, but it's still some of the people, some of the teachers that you use. So that's part of it. And then, of course, for the new building, if you haven't been online, and I also try to send them out during our weekly updates, shots or inside photos.
I've seen those. It looks good.
It's coming along. We hope to really be done by early May as far as getting furniture starting to get set up. Teachers hopefully can move belongings right when school gets out in May. And then we actually have time to learn the building in June and July. Parent tours, student tours, everybody's going to want to get in.
Yeah.
So the month of July will be very heavy, and then getting that first day in August. They haven't named the first day of school, but it's usually somewhere in the beginning of August. But we've actually already started talking about the first day, what that should look like. Reverend Lawson, who's the guy that the school is named after, is planning on attending.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
we've talked about, hey, if he's coming, do we do some kind of special assembly? We let him address the students. And other special guests will be there. I'm sure Dr. Battle, the superintendent, the mayor, the governor, who knows?
Yeah.
Who all will attend. But we really want to do something different, right? We're opening a brand new school. While, yes, it's the same students and teachers, it's a chance to kind of go in with a different idea of what school should look like. And we're trying to capitalize on that.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely, Spencer. What you got, man?
I just wanted to say, like, the PLT choices here made me a little sad. Just because last year I had a push every day. I had like a class for PLT, so I didn't get that like kind of like chill time or like independent study time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of want PLT this year, but like it's all good. Like it's part of it. And also something really cool.
We'll get the
is-
clubs too.
Yeah, no, the clubs are really cool. But something that's cool is like in the choir we're doing like the James Lawson alma mater.
Yep.
And it takes parts of like Hillwood's alma mater, the old Bellevue's alma mater. It's just like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
How did we write that?
I
Mr.
don't know.
Meredith,
Did Mr. Meredith write that?
he's composing it for the orchestra as well, or
Yeah.
he's writing it out.
So he's taking the lead.
I
on
heard, I
that.
heard him work on it. It sounds
Okay.
It sounds really good.
Hats off. We got to get Mr. Meredith in here to talk about that. That's,
Yeah.
that's
He's-
interesting.
a lot of people playing a part in the new building. And like I said, even though some seniors won't go, they've been a part of either learning or singing the alma
Yeah.
mater. They've been
Yeah.
part of the design process when we talk to kids about what are things that we need in the building, what are some things from a student perspective that they'd like to see. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I heard bits and pieces of it. I think I heard them singing maybe today. But we have a big event coming out. We haven't confirmed the date, but I think it's supposed to be the end of October, beginning of November.
I think it was
Potent-
the 25th.
25th, but we may or may not have to adjust that slightly. But we're waiting to announce kind of a big kickoff with the school colors, the school mascot, an update of the building. Part of the thought too is we get through our fall sport. Fall sports have their season. Then we start talking a little bit more about the new building. Then we jump back into winter sports, let them have their farewell season, and then we'll have some more information in the spring before we kick off spring sports. And then obviously after graduation, it's full steam ahead to James Lawson.
Absolutely, it'd be a full steam move. I know this room we'll be packing up probably starting after fall break. I'll be packing up all the stuff that I'm not taking
Yep.
and moving that aside. So we talked to Coach Strickland during one of our segments and about the color. The only thing he was able to give us was it's not green and white.
It's not. We're going to retire the green. And obviously, we're retiring the name. People won't show up at Hillwood thinking they're at Hillsboro or vice versa. So a lot of confusion on the hills and the greens. But
Yeah.
I think people will like the choices. Hopefully, in life you never make everybody happy.
Right.
But I think we have a neat story on how we came up with the name, the colors. Kind of like you were talking about, even on the alma mater, there is a chance to pay tribute, right? So Bellevue High School existed, Hillwood High School has existed. The two merged and became all of underneath the umbrella of Hillwood, and then now we're renaming as James Lawson. So all of that hit away, right? This
Right.
is kind of how we got to this point. So we want to keep telling that story.
Absolutely, and I think it's a good thing. I mean, a name is a name, and we can unite under the James Lawson title and go full steam ahead on whatever that mascot and whatever those colors are going to be. I think the designs are going to be outstanding, whatever we choose. I think the finalists were Lynx, Lions, and Lightning.
So those are three that we sent out to the staff and the students and the community. Our feeder schools just getting some input, and just like everything else, about a third liked one, didn't like one, and could tolerate one. So
Yeah.
there was not a unanimous choice by any means, but some had a little bit more favorability than others.
Right.
We wanted to try to do something different, so we'll just kind of see what happens. And for better or worse, that's what we're going to be. But I always say we're going to have a brand new building. It's going to be $150 million plus, right? That's a huge investment.
Yeah.
We're going to have a great name under James Lawson. So if you don't know much about Reverend James Lawson, get out there, do your homework, find out who he was and still is. We're lucky that it's rare to have a school named after somebody who's alive, who's still contributing. Mr. Dobbins and some other classes have spent time getting to know and research who he was and his impact on Nashville specifically. But at the end of the day, it's really the people inside, right? We can be in an older building that the air doesn't work, and sometimes it's leaky roofs and all that. But that doesn't mean we can have less of an experience, right? It's the teachers, it's the students, it's the community that supports. So we still have to do our part when we move. It's still shiny and new, and we get a great advantage by having that.
Well,
But it's still up to us to create the school community. I was 4 years of high school. I want to create the best 4 years that you want as a student. And obviously for next year, the seniors have 1 year left and juniors 2 and so on. But it's really about creating that atmosphere for them. That's my job. I had a great time in high school, great time in college. I'm fortunate I kind of get to do that over and over every year. But it's really about you all. You know, it's giving you all the opportunities that you want to get out of this time so you're prepared for what your next chapter is.
Absolutely. Now, has SGA been kind of driving some of the culture ideas for the shift? Like some of the underclass representatives, have they been kind of?
Yeah, so we want to get their voice in, and like I said, the seniors have been driving a lot of the last year activities. It's the most activities I've ever seen planned by any student government group.
It's an active group.
They got a lot of things that they want to do. But yeah, after each group, then we're trying to kind of talk to them. Okay, what can we do differently? So things like we really want to be community service oriented when we go out there. That's also something big that James Lawson preached. Nonviolent, right? Like be advocates for change in a nonviolent way. Well, I think we're all better served when we have productive dialogue that ends with conversation and not other actions that we sometimes see on display, not just in school, it's really in community, right? Like you can turn on the news and you see so much that is things that we don't want to see. So we really want to be that beacon of light out there saying, hey, this is a group of kids in a community that does things different. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point of just turning on the television, I mean, you see it on you pull up social media and you see all these viral clips of people getting in all these altercations and yelling at each other and fighting and things like that. And just to be able to promote that for this next generation, I think will be absolutely incredible.
Well, we said TV. I forgot they don't watch TV. It should
Yeah,
be YouTube
it's
or social media.
streaming or social. Yeah,
Boy,
TikTok,
I've dated
right?
myself. Nobody turns on the nightly news anymore. At least if you're under the age of probably
Yeah.
40.
Probably during COVID, to see what the
Yeah.
what the latest restrictions were, but
That was all on YouTube though.
what? Yeah, you're right.
So-
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on YouTube. I got my content that I'm driving on YouTube. This is actually on YouTube right now and streaming on Twitter as well. So we're rocking and rolling. So
Well, good. What else you guys want to know? Before we got to head out. I know we got to
this
head
is
out, but
Ask Me Anything segment. We got
What about
3 minutes.
disciplinary actions? So
what about it?
like
hope to never have
this
them.
year, yeah,
We hope to
obviously,
never have
yeah. But
Actually,
I mean,
I think it's been a great start. I mean, I
Yeah.
think last year what we noticed is kids had been out of school for a year and a half. Some didn't come back, obviously, during the virtual year,
Yeah.
where some were allowed to come in, some stayed at home. And I think they came back academically behind. And when you're not engaged in your classes, that's usually when you see behaviors,
right.
right? Like if you're connected in class, you feel like you know what you're doing, you're engaged, you're not going to put as much difficulty as if you're not. So that was a huge difference. Kids came in much better prepared this year than last year
Yeah.
from an academic standpoint. And even from a social standpoint, we've done a lot of work with our restorative. We've brought in staff members, just helping kids talk through conflict. And the most successful schools are when guys, students like you all, that take active roles. I said there should never be a fight in the building if the students don't want to see a fight.
Right.
There's enough people that usually are there that know it's going to happen and can stop it before it does.
Right.
So a lot of it falls back on helping create that culture where no, we don't do certain things in this building, and that's one of them. And it just takes time to develop those relationships. So I think I've been here now 5 years. A lot of the staff have been here previously, and a lot of the staff that have come in have formed those relationships where there's a lot of trust with students where, hey, so-and-so's having a tough day, you better keep an eye because we don't want anything to happen. Not to get anybody in trouble, but it's more about let's avoid them getting in trouble.
Right.
And that's they are running a successful school, and we've seen more and more that year. People looking out for each other.
Yeah.
Right? Kids are going to make mistakes. I have two boys at home. They make mistakes all the time. It's human nature. You're still in a development stage. Even adults make mistakes. So it's just making sure, hey, if I'm having a bad day, I know he's looking out for me or you're looking out for me.
Right.
And that's what I've seen around here. Kids are really looking out for each other. They want it to be a great year. And they don't want to have to deal with some of the nonsense.
Right. Yeah.
So, all right, what else?
I hope that answered your question.
Yeah,
Go
it
ahead,
did.
Spencer.
Can you give like any sort of insight at all about like a logo or like colors or like anything for the new school?
Well, there's colors that
How many colors?
Is it a primary color?
There's more than one. Okay, color. It's not about that. And I think like I said, I think it helps tell the story. I think it's important to there's always a rationale. We could have went a million different ways with colors or mascots.
Mr. Mitchell's gripping the edge of his seat right now.
He really wants to help tell the story, but a lot of people contributed to this story. So I think you're going to be excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Something a little different. We hope. We've already started some tentative names for like what's the student section in the gym, what's the gym going to be called. So we've tried to also have some of those things ready to go because while we want to build the school as we go, and we want student voice. Some things we want on day one, right? We want to create that identity. So on day one, we know the gym is called blank.
Right.
We're going to find that out here in a couple weeks. So.
What if we're the Lynx? What do you think the gym would be called? I don't know enough
Pack,
about.
I
I don't know
don't
enough
the
about
Pack,
Lynx
yeah.
to be. That would be the student section, the Pack.
Yeah. And so once we release it too, there's some things we haven't gotten to. So this current group of students will have a
Yeah.
chance to give input.
I think I voted for the Lynx. I think that was my
That
favorite.
was your favorite.
Lynx
one?
was a good one, and
I think it did
they're all
Lions.
good. They all had advantages or disadvantages.
Yeah.
What's the gym called at Hillwood? Is
They
there
probably have a
I
name.
Yeah, I
think
was
it's
like,
just the
yeah.
gym.
Is there a name?
Just the gym,
The big gym.
the big
Big gym
Small
and small
gym.
gym. Yeah.
big
Yeah.
gym, small gym.
So I mean, once again, kind of doing that branding, giving a different identity.
See, I wanted red and black as the colors, but that wouldn't really make sense with Lynx. I don't know.
So this is kind of going into the process. So there's metro schools, and then there's obviously other private schools around us. So red, my former school when I was at Overton, there's red and black. They're the Bobcats.
Right.
So the Lynx, similar to a Bobcat. So then it's like, oh man, you're almost like Overton because you have the same colors and the similar
Right.
mascot.
So we're trying to be unique.
trying to
About,
be a little different, right? So we tried to look at and we did. What does every school have? Like who has blue, who has red, who has green, purple? Only one school has purple, but they're kind of a big identity right now, which is
Right.
Cane Ridge. They're the Ravens. I think they're the only high school that has predominantly purple. So
CPA has
CPA has purple on the private side. So
Yeah.
so it was not
Someone
easy.
pink.
Pink, we did not do pink, but I did say nobody else does pink. But
Inner Mike.
And it looks pink and black go so good together.
pink and black, okay.
They do pink and black. So
I was
We can
gonna
always
say.
have that alternative
Yeah.
Right.
jersey or look for you. How about
Yeah.
that?
I was gonna say like yellow and black, but then I was like, oh, Fairview has that.
Fairview on this side, yeah. See,
Yeah.
so you kind of see the problems
Yeah.
we went through, right? Is
Right.
we have a great color combination, or then you looked at pro or college, and there's only so many colors you can put together. So we
Yeah.
don't think we're like the first person ever to come up with the combinations and all that, but we do feel like we pulled in some pretty unique pieces.
I bet it's orange or something.
orange and blue. He's a Gator.
I got a feeling it's orange.
Orange. Okay, so Stratford's orange and black. Stratford High School
And Innsworth.
and Ensworth,
Handsworth is orange.
also orange and black. So.
So
All right. You'll know soon enough. We're gonna have a big kickoff out in Bellevue. Like I said, we're still finalizing the details. It will be streamed,
Yeah.
courtesy of the Predators, and so we'll have some of you all covering it live for us as well. But yeah, so we're excited.
So-
Give more.
mark your calendars. You got. He just volunteered you. So did
There
I.
you go. You got
So
your next
you're in.
assignment. You can be there. You can hear it firsthand. You'll
You're
be
in.
in the room,
Awesome.
in the room where it happened. Just watched Hamilton.
There you go. In the room where it happened. There you
Yeah.
go.
Seen
Fresh in
Hamilton,
mind.
go watch Disney Plus.
All right, weekend of college football. We got a big weekend of we're traveling to Pearl Cone on Thursday, so make sure you're there. The volleyball team is hosting tonight against East. That'll be a big one if you wanna stay for that. I think girls soccer is tonight.
Yeah,
They were rained out last
They're away tonight. Okay, so lots of stuff going on. Clues coming down the pike. Lots of college football, opening college football. Georgia plays Oregon in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. His
Go Ducks.
his Gators are playing Utah. Go Utes! All right, lots of good games on this weekend for you. NFL gets cranked up the next weekend, but this is going to wrap up this edition of the Topper Podcast. Thank you, Dr. Schaefer, Robbie, Spencer.
Yeah.
As always, until next time, we'll see you later. Go Toppers!